Hey guys, my name is Kim and I'm a copywriter with a specific interest in the fintech industry. And so I've always heard this one quote that success leaves clues. And so I thought it would be a great idea to analyze the top fintech companies and look at their copy, whether it's their site copy, their email copy, sales letters, whatever copy they have, and mostly to learn myself, but also just to maybe inspire you to learn a thing or two, not particularly learn from me, but from what these amazing companies are doing because they're obviously doing something right. And so without further ado, I do plan to keep these videos nice, short, and sweet. So let's just jump straight into it. First company I want to analyze or break down their copy is this company called Chuffed. So quickly, Chuffed is an online crowdfunding platform, and they've obviously had a ton of success. I'll let the numbers speak for themselves. They've raised 15 million euros. They've had 7,900 social campaigns and more than 220,000 donors. I am pretty sure that there's a thing or two I can learn from them, and I'm pretty sure there's a thing or two you can learn from them. So right here, I click on the link. I already have the page open in case my computer decides to be slow. And so right off the bat, our story, we all know the power of story, so I'm not actually going to dive much into story in this one video. But I do want to talk about their first line over here, which is, we're building a transparent, inspiring, and personalized way to make change. Specifically, I want to call out this word transparent, which brings me to lesson number 1, the power of market research. Now, everybody knows the power of market research, but I thought it would be a good idea to show this in action. So, as I mentioned before, these people help basically with charity. Now, one objection that I've always heard, and I also used to do street marketing for a short time, so I already kind of knew this, but I thought I would go to get some sources. And one of the first sources I came across was .gov.au, so you know it's credible. But anyhow, so this is a podcast where they interview the acting commissioner of the AC&C, which is a big charity organization in Australia. The guy's name is Murray Baird, and they provide a transcript, and I'm just going to skip over to the important part. So Murray says in the interview that, not surprisingly, the people consider transparency of charities to be of great importance to their trust in those charities. So it's super obvious that Chubb did their research, and I know one source is good, but I also wanted to provide another source. So these are Australians, and I wanted to stay loyal to my other side, Americans. And even Americans are even worse than Australians as far as their trust in charities. So even though this website itself is probably not the most credible, they do cite the 2019 Edelman, I don't know how to pronounce that, Trust Barometer, which did a survey of 34,000 people, including 500 American, and the article from which they got this noted that only 52% of Americans have faith that nonprofits will do what is right. Again, coming down to transparency, again, this is a huge objection when it comes to charity. People don't trust that organizations are doing what they say they're going to do with their money. So Chubb does an amazing job addressing that right off the bat. As you can see here, they say it in their first line above the fold right there, nice and pretty. So now let's move on to the second takeaway, why we started. Again, here they share a story. But the main thing I really want to call attention to here is, and I'm just going to sum it up because I've already read this, but if you want to read it, you can go ahead and pause. They call out their target audience right away. So they ask a bunch of rhetorical questions. Their ideal audience will say, yes, 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 that's me. Or their non-ideal audience will say no, like they won't agree with anything, and they're just not their target audience. That's totally fine to alienate people with your writing. In fact, you want to do that, and that's key because there's this common quote in marketing, sales, copywriting, and it's been repeated so many times I actually don't even know who the original people are that said it, but it's, if you try to be everything for everyone, you end up becoming nothing for no one. And so I also have a quick example to illustrate this further. So I used to do sales, and in this sales position, I also did the marketing leading up to the sales call. And I remember when I was newer, I used to send messages. We did a lot of WhatsApp, a lot of SMS, and a lot of people would reply, and I would have all these sales calls booked, and I thought I was an amazing copywriter. And it wasn't until I wasted a ton of time with the wrong people that I realized it's not all about the amount of people you bring in, but quality is key. And so that sums up my second point. You want to call out your target audience and be very descriptive about that. And you want to actively alienate those who are not your target audience. All right, so let's move on to point number 3, observation number 3, lesson number 3, whatever you want to call it. Now, as we scroll down the page, we come across a timeline, which is another version of their story, which we notice to be an occurring theme. But anyhow, I want to focus specifically on their use of specificity. It's a hard word to say. Over here, you'll see 460K. Over here, you'll see June 2013, not just the year 2013, not just a lot of money, not just 400 or 500K. They're specific, super specific. Even as you scroll down, you see more specificity. And 15K raised in 50 hours. How specific is that? The name of the campaign, the person who hosted the campaign. It's just all full of specificity, which brings me to a little like subnote to that is the use of concrete terms versus abstract terms. You want to generally use concrete terms because concrete terms are more persuasive generally than abstract terms. So to give you an example, right now a big thing that's happening is coronavirus. Let's pretend I say to you, 20% of people are getting infected by coronavirus. It's kind of effective, but how can we make that better? So let's say, imagine you're at a restaurant. There's 10 people there. Chances are that 2 of you guys will have coronavirus or would have had coronavirus. How much more effective is that? Now, next time whenever you go to a restaurant and there's 10 people, you're like, oh crap, like, am I one of the 2 people? So it's just more specific. It's easier. There's some studies, I can pull them up if it's really that important for you, that talks about how like your brain just prefers concrete language. It's just easier to grasp. It's easier to make a mental image. So it's more persuasive. And so that sums up my third point, which is the power of specificity. And that's at first I wanted to make those 3 lessons, but I kind of wanted to include a quick little bonus one because I actually noticed this very recently, and I was like, oh my god, I definitely want to include it because I thought it was amazing. So over here you can see that they provide a link to their campaign in 2013. Now, if a little reminder, they mentioned the word transparency up here, and they're kind of doing a little show don't tell sort of over here by providing a link to their humble beginnings, and you can see their journey. Actually, when you click on this link, even though it's showing version 1, when you click on this link, which I actually opened up here in case my computer was slow, you can pretty much see their entire journey. So like 418 captures, like you can see them from start to finish start to where they're at now, which, if that's not transparent, then I don't know what is. So I thought that was really, really cool. But that's it. That's the first video as we analyze the company Chuffed. And to recap, the first lesson to take away is the power of market research. And second lesson is you want to call out that target audience and be very descriptive about it. And then the third lesson is specificity. You want to be very specific. Generally, concrete terms are better than abstract terms. And there you have it. That's the first video. Tell me how you liked it. If there's anything you want me to go more in depth in, I'm open to all types of feedback. I kind of did this just to get some momentum started, and I am going to make these videos better and better, but this is just the beginning. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're able to take a thing or two and implement it in your business. And until next time.